there will be enough resources channeled towards like recruiting people and paying them well. Nigerian police, they have the entire Nigeria police force, active police force in Nigeria. They are not up to 200,000, protecting 200 million people. It's crazy. And yet, you know, when you see that bigger country, there are those who have all this data. And that's why they just laugh. Because number one, let's take the terrorist, for example. The terrorist understands this more than you and me, that Nigeria lacks the adequate resources to actually tackle them. That is why you will see some of these terrorists controlling vast area of lands, communities, and all that. And you'll be wondering, like, how is that easy? Like me, I can't just go to anywhere and chase people out of the place and start living there in the southern part of Nigeria. Then you will realize that there are those who knows where and where the resources of Nigeria will never reach. And in fact, they will not be interested in touching them. So they will go that far. There are those who are aware of that. Anyway, so my point here is that a country that is big like Nigeria, that should be militarily like also big, right? Who have that so much like bigness, right? To stop, to stop a coup in the neighboring country. Such countries should be able to protect our own people, not to become so vulnerable like we have become right now, that everybody's feeling it. So Nigeria be like, when it comes to defending Nigerians, they're like, oh, this big for nothing, big brother, right? Somehow running into the fire, pretending to want to go and fight for you. Say, Baba, you know Cutlass, so.
Bro, so you know Cutlass? Bro, fall back, you know. Get the Cutlass, bro, fall back. You know, shoot me the back. Mama, give me that.
Bros, you know Cutlass, so bros, come back over. You know Cutlass, so you really think bros won't go fight? Just pretending to want to just lead all of them and fight. Say, bros, Cutlass. In northern part of Nigeria, right? There is no single border. There is no single border in northern part of Nigeria, and that is deliberate. You feel me? A guy filmed this. He was crossing from one country into Tanzania. Yeah, land border. We do have that in the southwest of Nigeria, and I think you do have that also in the southeast or so of Nigeria, where you have this Nigerian border entrance. Tell me. For me, I know that of Seme. There's Seme border. There's a Diroko. There is another one. Like, they are practically like border posts too. Here you get. I don't think any of them look much like this in northern part of Nigeria. But here is what the border of Tanzania looks like. There is nothing like that in northern part of Nigeria, and you can't say you are fighting terrorism or going to like stop the influx of a terrorist when you can't even build an ordinary border where people who goes in or comes out of your country are checked, scrutinized to some extent, and they have already. I mean, Musa is the minister now, by the way, and he's already telling us that it would make sense if Nigeria's border from northern part of Nigeria is completely fenced, in order to fence the terrorists out there, and those ones who are left in the country can be swept and cleaned out. I hope he is able to do that. So Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò, the generalismo of Yoruba army, is saying, you see, if it is the state police that Tinubu manages to at least achieve, he is very confident that this issue of insecurity and the rest of that would end, like it will disappear. So he's pretty much relying on, the law that will create or empower the local security, whatever they want to call them, to be able to confront the challenging insecurity in different vicinity, different region. So his belief is that that would probably facilitate the end or an end to this terrorism. Gani Adams. And yeah, I kind of have an idea of what he's referring to, though, because they say all security is local. Yeah, every security or something like that is local. So let the locals protect their localities. And if you empower them constitutionally, armed and all that, but that may change the game. That is what Gani Adams is saying here. Let's hear it.
Agnes family. Firstly, my name is Gani Adams, not former chief Gani Adams. Where I totally agree with the southern governors on the basis of we need state police urgently. And state police is one of the content of true federalism. And at the same time, I commend the Southwest governor because they have already taken a position earlier before the Southern governors. Anybody who loves this country will not disagree on state police on the situation we have. Some people always have an opinion that the government will misuse state police against their political opponents. But my own thought is that let us talk about the protection of life and property first, which is the first responsibility of any government. And when you are talking about partisan politics, that's secondary aspect of life and governance. We are talking of life and property to be protected by the government, who are constituted authorities. And the major factors and the major impediments we always have about security is that the security was not recruited from their state and their community, even in their local governments. And the issue of governance always lies first on locality, from the community, local government, states, and the federal. If the people of the community did not have the opportunity to police and secure their communities, bringing someone who is not familiar with the community to come and secure that community, it will be very difficult. I'm from Arigidi, Akoko in Ondo State. We know our history very well. We know the background of the headquarters in our communities. And we know the family that reside there for about 3 generations. So definitely we have an information of some areas and some people who have criminal background. If anything happens in that community, we know how to trace the beginning of that issue. And when we know our forests, we know where the intruders came into our forests. And from that angle, people from community can be recruited to be part of state police. And in a country that have 3 tiers of government, there is no way you can run that country with only one structure of policing.
Because the normal thing in Yoruba land that somebody like myself is brought up with is that it takes a community to raise a child. And if a child ended up bad, the community will kind of like identify the reason, if it's the parent or if it's just the child. So if things go south, there are people within the community that can tell you the first, line of call, the first suspects. That's why they say every security should be local. There is a man in Ekiti, an example, by the way. So there is a man, okay, there is an Oba in Ekiti. I don't know if I should call him Elekpe of Ekiti or Elekpe of Ekiti, because he is accused by his community a few months back that, he's been at the loggerheads with them to the point that he's been cursing them, the youth, placing curses on them, like, not literally, like he's placing curses on them. And they believe that his curses is affecting them, and therefore they don't want him as their king anymore. That was a few months back. But yesterday they took a bit of an action, like an extra step, and they actually banished the king from the community or the town, their own king. That's the kind of the Yoruba upbringing that I was taught. I was one of the best Yoruba language students in my secondary school days, seriously. So where you have to read a lot, culture, tradition, trade, people, language, and all of that stuff, right? So we're told that a king in Yoruba culture, in the Yoruba tradition, a king is called Alashe Keji Orisha, meaning that after the gods is the king, and is the only one next to the gods. So therefore, you can't ask him, you can't question him, you can't challenge the king. But that same Yoruba tradition also added that the same king must also act kingly. He must have the interest of his own people at heart every now and then. His breathing, his living, his sleeping, his everything must be about his people. Once he begins to go against them, and the community or the town decided that they have had enough of him, right? What will happen next is he will be advised to go and open calabash. That's to tell you that somebody could attain the most powerful position and become a king in Yoruba land. Everybody is prostrating. Everyone is walking, like that. They respect him and all that. And at the same time, if he should be found to be having what they call the dereliction of a duty, and he's also working against the interest of his own people, the entire community that showed him love, shared him, praised him, they will give him 7 days to commit suicide. That's our tradition. And if he failed to, then it will now lead to a proper war. And this time around, he will be killed until he's killed. Do you get what I mean? So that is but to these days, you have criminals, obas, selling lands, and they are like land grabbers. They have become so distant from this noble tradition, noble culture, Yoruba, that today they are most of the people that the world sees and say, wow, man, this used to be, that used to be. And some of us actually, we are ashamed of how things have eventually turned out. But to the Ekiti people, this is how they treated their king, that they called Elekwe of Ekwe.
ọ̀rọ̀ bá iṣẹ́ ìlú tún mọ̀ mẹ́. ọ̀rọ̀ bá iṣẹ́ ìlú tún mọ̀ mẹ́. àná ní kò bá jáde lónìí yó bọ́ọ̀lù tó lọ bí ilé ẹgbẹ́ tí ní ebe pati ni bisu ya ẹ̀yin alẹ́jà ló bàbá ẹ bọ́ ọ̀rẹ́ kẹwàá dàbà ajá inú ìwé tó ń gbó tí ó lè bu ní jẹ láti bu ní jẹ báyìí.
The name of Jeoba is Ayodeji Williams Adeshoye. He was accused of using Afoshe. You know that thing, Afoshe? Commander be, yeah, Afoshe. He's using it on his subjects. And you could hear one of them saying that they have been protesting that they should remove him, they should remove him. He called them dogs, like they call them barking dogs. So now, who is now barking dogs now? Now you can see that the barking dog has now bite you. So yes, they were asking government to dethrone him, and if they won't dethrone him, they chased him out of his palace, banish him from the community. So right now, the Oba is going to be like going to court or go to the governor, so that the politicians will return him back to the same community that rejected him to continue to be their king. So yeah, that's the kind of Yoruba culture and tradition that I was raised and trained to believe when I grew up. That is exactly what the society will be like all about, until I realized that most of those things have become so bastardized. You know, that the supposed traditional, the protectors of the traditional stools in Yoruba land have become mostly betrayers. And it's a shame, as you are seeing them desecrate that kind of like, you know, it's a shame. That was how I envisaged it when I was a little boy. I thought it was like, you know, but there's so many things that we're lied to. Anyway, that's just a one. And here is another one. The Oni of Ife is currently celebrating 10 years of being crowned the Oni of Ife. Okay, so in that celebration, he decided to give a title to Rat Remi Ahmed Tinubu. So Rat, as a special mother of the day, Yeye something something of Odua. That's what they gave him. Yeye something something Odua, of the Odua people. And they also invited Governor the dancer, yeah, Oshun Governor, because Ile-Ife is in Oshun State. So and then the drama ensued. First, when the dancer was coming in, as usual, you know, he's like a jolly good fellow, right? So it was like, Imole, Imole, Imole. And if you should by any means play any music there, that's what you're going to get next. So all this drama, kind of, I don't know how much that endears him to is a supporter somehow, right? But it all started like this before the real drama.
Give way for the authority. Give it up. Give way for authority. Give me that.